Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome to another episode of the Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so thrilled to have each and every one of you here with us today. Whether you are tuning in for a dose of inspiration or just a moment of calm, you're in the right place. Now, before we dive into today's episode, just a quick reminder. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to tap the screen, like, comment, and share. Your support helps us to connect with more amazing people like you. And if we're not friends already, be sure to give us a follow, subscribe to our channel, so that way you never miss out on our latest content. I also invite you to visit our website at theselfcareclub.org. We've got some awesome affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and a bunch of free resources waiting just for you. It is all about empowering yourself and embracing your journey. No matter what challenges you are facing in life, remember that you're not on this path alone. We're in this together, supporting and uplifting each other every step of the way. It's time for us to choose to prioritize our well-being, to embrace our growth, and to find peace in the present moment. So let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together.
In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
So our topic of discussion for today. Today I wanted to talk about when they flip the script, right? They, you know them people, right? So we're going to talk about manipulation and emotional deflection. Manipulation and emotional deflection, right? That's when the people be trying to tell us that we acting brand new because we moving accordingly. And they be like, oh, you acting different. You being weird now, right? Y'all acting funny. So let's get into this conversation. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you feel upset? I mean, like genuinely hurt by something that someone did. Okay? And instead of this person owning up to it, they flip the entire situation on you. It's like suddenly the conversation is all about how you overreacted or how you've been too sensitive to something instead of them actually focusing on what happened. Right? That's manipulation, and it is so common, like way more common than you would think, right? But here's the thing. Manipulation is sneaky, right? It doesn't always have to look like some grand or obvious betrayal. A lot of times it's subtle, it's wrapped up in excuses, right? And it does this because it wants you to begin to doubt yourself, right? You start thinking, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am taking it too seriously, or I'm making it more about me. I'm making it too personal, right? And so when this happens, it's a trap, right? Like when they flip it back on you, when they flip the script back on you, and you're all of a sudden thinking, was it really a big deal? That's when they have you. That's when they got you trapped. And so when someone else focuses more on how you reacted to the situation rather than their own behavior, that's called deflecting. They're avoiding any real accountability by making you feel like you're the problem. This way, they don't have to deal with their mess, right? And the reality of it is, they'll rarely, people like that will rarely understand that what they did was actually hurtful to you. And so I wanted to talk about a little bit today on how do we spot this, right? How do we decide, when someone is just deflecting or imposing their feelings onto us? And so, when we think about like, how do we spot this? It is tricky because it can feel so familiar, especially if it's something that we've been dealing with for a while with them, right? Or if you've experienced it like in your past relationships, a lot of times in our own families. So here are just a few signs to look out for when it comes to, spotting manipulation. So number one, like I said, we talked about deflection, right? Let's say you bring up, how a person is treating you. And instead of addressing it, they all of a sudden shift gears and focus entirely on how you responded to it. You say, what you did really hurt me. And they respond with, well, if you didn't get so angry, we wouldn't be in this situation. Anybody ever felt that before? And all of a sudden you're just sitting there like, what? Like, I said how you did something or said something or made me feel some sort of way. And your answer is, well, if you didn't act like that, I wouldn't have to talk to you like that. That's deflection, right? Hard pass. Y'all can keep that, right? That's an energy that I'm not interested in. 10 out of 10 wouldn't recommend, right? Shan like, yep, I know it, yep. So then there's something else that's called minimization. And this one, I'm telling y'all, it drives me up a wall. You're hurt, and you say, you express your feelings. You're being vulnerable, telling someone that you're hurt, that you're, feeling some type of way. And they say something like, you're being dramatic. Or it wasn't even that serious. Meanwhile, you're sitting there questioning, did I just make this shit up? Did I just imagine all of this? Thank you, Melody. You're sitting there feeling real stuck. Like, did this really happen? Because I could have swore I just expressed my feelings on a situation and you just told me I was being dramatic. Again, we're talking about minimization. And so, when you are at your vulnerable state, when you've gotten comfortable enough to tell somebody, hey, that made me feel some sort of way, or I'm vibrating a little low right now. I'm not feeling too hot, or mentally I'm not, myself, right? I'm not my best self. Hey, Melody. And then people tell you like, oh, you're being dramatic. You're overreacting. It's not that serious. That's minimization. Grand Rising, true. And then the last one, y'all. Victimhood. Hey, Grandma Whoopi. Listen, there is something called victimhood, y'all. All right? And this is their classic move. This is the classic move. Suddenly, you're the bad guy for being upset. And they're the victim because your reaction made them uncomfortable. You speaking up for yourself, you advocating for yourself made them uncomfortable. It left them feeling some sort of way, right? And, they spin that so hard that you almost forget how the situation even started. Like, have y'all ever found yourself telling somebody, like holding somebody else accountable for something that they've said or done to you, right? How they've made you feel. And then they flip it on you and they say, well, you just don't understand because I've been having a hard time. And, I've been going through some things and you haven't been there for me. And all of a sudden you're apologizing to them. Right? Like all of a sudden it's like clickbait. I check you for how you're treating me, or I hold you accountable for what you've done for me, and all of a sudden I gotta apologize for you? No, like I'm not gonna do it. So that's called victimhood, y'all. And so, the question that we have to start to ask ourselves is, why do we fall for it? Right? Why do we even fall for this? And I can tell y'all why. Like, I know the answer to this age-old question as to why we fall for it. It's because manipulation messes with your head, right? Manipulation causes you to start doubting your own reality and feelings, and suddenly you're the one apologizing, although you were the one who was hurt, right? there, you know, it's a way of controlling a situation without taking any responsibility, without being accountable at all. This is for the people who offend you, disrespect you, hurt you, and then all of a sudden they're the ones left crying at the other end of the phone. Like, well, that's not what I meant, and you know that, and you know that I'm a good person, and I would never treat you like that, and that's not what I said, and oh my gosh, I'm just so emotional. And you're like, I could have swore I called to tell you that you hurt me, but now all of a sudden, me holding you accountable is hurting you? Nah, Like, I unsubscribe to that mess, right? You said this is intentionally right, True? Listen. Because, I mean, I find myself getting so sick of people who lack accountability. You know what I mean? Like, I really find myself having a zero tolerance. It's like, if you do something to me and you wrong me, okay, cool, we're human, right? Life happens. But if I hold you accountable for your actions, if I say you've done something, you've said something, you're doing something, and respectfully, you just can't say my bad. Even if you're like, my bad, sis, that wasn't my intent. I apologize. I recognize that it hurt you. That's not what I was going for, but I apologize if what I did indirectly hurt you. Listen, I'll take that. But if you say, well, that ain't what I meant, and you know that I'm under a lot of pressure, and I'm sorry I didn't choose my words, miss me with the bull, right? You just be like, just go on about your business. I don't want to fall for it. You know, and it's like you only have so many times to do that, because they say the best apology is a changed behavior, right? And these people, they don't change their behavior. You know, they have years of being enabled to do their bad behavior. So they don't change their behavior, y'all. Sadly, for many of them, it does not get better. Especially if they don't seek therapy. If they don't go get some type of healing for themselves. They just keep running around, destroying people, hurting people, crying the victim, right? These like I said, these people, they drive me nuts, right? They absolutely, yeah, they practice getting away with it. They test your limits to see how much, you know, how it is. Thank you, True. It's getting spooky up in here, right? So let's really get messy with this for a second, y'all, right? We've all been there before. It's like you're in the heat of the moment, emotions are running high, and instead of addressing what went wrong, right? It's, you know, all of a sudden you're left defending yourself. You're trying to explain why your reaction is valid. Like, you have to prove to them why you feel what you feel, right? That is so exhausting. Shan says it's like that annoying fly flying around you, right? And his little ass too fast, and you can't get to him quick enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just like, oh my God, like, and listen, and then they'll tell you, it's not that bad, it's just a fly. It's annoying, and so are you, right, Shan? Like, you and that fly are annoying. But, you know, in situations like that, you know, you end up walking away from the conversation even more confused than you were when you started. Like, I understand less about what happened now that I tried to explain to you what happened. Because now, not only am I questioning my feelings, and if my feelings are valid, and if I'm the one who's crazy, now I'm also questioning where we stand, right? I'm questioning, do I want to maintain what this is? More than likely I don't, but that's just me, right? And so we have to figure out, how do we stop manipulation from happening, right? And I cannot tell you that we can stop other people from attempting to manipulate you. It's gonna happen. People gon' people, just like life gon' life, y'all. But what we can do is stop it from allowing us to question who we are, right? And so when we think about how to stop falling victim to their manipulation, that starts with us believing in ourselves. For those of you who are subscribed to the YouTube channel, y'all know that we do the Love Notes from Coach. And in the love notes from Coach, at the end of each message, I say, most importantly, keep believing in you, because I do. And the reason I say this is because believing in your own feelings is key. And I know that is something that sounds simple, right? But it's honestly one of the hardest things to do, especially when you've been conditioned to doubt yourself over the years. From a very early age, we've been taught to question, are we good enough? Are we worthy enough? Do we deserve this? Right? People have invalidated us from the start. And so, over the years, if you're someone who has grown up being told that you're too emotional or you're making a big deal out of nothing, that you overreact, now all of a sudden you start questioning yourself. But I'm going to tell y'all something that nobody else will tell you, right? Right, like who do you think you are, right? I'm going to tell you something that not many people, I'm not saying nobody else will tell you, because y'all in a safe space with positive people in your community, so I'm sure some of y'all hear this a lot. But just to reiterate, your feelings are valid, period. I don't have to elaborate on that. Your feelings are valid. Treasure, welcome in, love. So if someone hurts you, that's it. There's no but. Your feelings are valid. Your reaction is valid, because it's your response to how you were treated. So it doesn't matter if the other person feels like you're overreacting or they didn't mean to hurt you. My feelings are valid. Right? Inspire Risings, love. And so it doesn't matter how they feel about it. Thank you guys for the hearts. The impact of what they did is valid. It happened. And so we have to normalize understanding that our feelings are real and that no one else gets to tell us that they're not. Our feelings matter. Our feelings are real. And so the days of allowing other people to invalidate us are over. We know better. We're doing better. We out here healing. And we don't have time to stay stagnant in, these toxic spaces with people who refuse to be held accountable. Right, Brittany? Like, we just don't have time for it. And this is where it gets tricky, guys. If they can't handle it, meaning like they refuse to acknowledge how their actions made you feel, and instead of making it all about you being too sensitive or you overreacting, right? Let me just point out for y'all that that's a huge red flag. See, we're human. So we're going to offend people. We're going to hurt people. We're human, right? We don't always get it right. But when I do something to wrong a person or hurt a person, and that person then comes to me to say, Tay, you messed up, right? Shantae, you hurt my feelings. Coach, you offended me, right? I'm mature enough to say, my apologies, love. That is not what I intended to do, but I do understand that it happened, and I apologize. Notice I didn't say but. I simply said, I apologize. I let them know that is not what I was intending to do. You know what I mean? Just being sincere. Hey, I wasn't setting out to hurt your feelings. I apologize. If what I did hurt you, offended you, right? That's me being a mature adult saying, hey, I apologize, right? It didn't cost me anything. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person because I unintentionally did something that hurt someone. It means I'm human. And that's what a lot of people are afraid of, right? Miss Glow, welcome in. Hey, Taz. But I mean, again, like I said, this is the tricky part, because you're going to always have people who you try to hold them accountable and they just refuse to carry any of it. So that's the red flag for you guys, okay? when they're dodging their responsibility, and no amount of explaining or justifying your feelings is going to make them be accountable. If this person just refuses to be held accountable, there's nothing y'all can say or do. You did your due diligence by saying, hey, you offended me, you hurted me, you've wronged me, I feel this way. So you did what was honorable to you by simply stating, this bothers me. What they do with it from that point, that's on them. And if they're not willing to be held accountable for their own actions, well, that is simply a sign for you that you need to go ahead and set a boundary, right? This is the part where you say, you know what, let me go ahead and put my boundary in place. Hey, Janelle, welcome in. Thank you, guys. Right? So remember, boundaries are everything in this situation, okay? They're your way of saying, regardless of whether you want to accept, this, I'm not okay with being treated like this. And honestly, if it continues, I'm going to have to make a change. So even though this person may say you're overreacting, you're being extra, you're dramatic, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and set my boundary and say, listen, you said what you said. I felt how I felt. It is what it is. And if it continues to happen, I'm going to exit stage left. So then they have a choice to make. And I can sleep easy, honey. Because if I said all of that to you, and if I tell you that if this behavior, if this attitude, if this treatment continues, then I'm going to leave. So if they continue to do it, hey, baby, that's on them. They made their choice. And they've also said, you know what? I don't even want you here because I heard you say it hurts you. But I'm going to just keep doing it anyway. Well, then that person doesn't deserve you. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and need to make that change, right? We got to remind ourselves that boundaries are not about us being mean. They're not about us building walls. They're not about us punishing someone. Boundaries are simply in place to help us to protect ourselves. Boundaries help us to protect our energy. Boundaries help us to maintain our peace, to protect our mental well-being. So people will try to judge you for setting your boundary, which clearly means that, hey, this person can't be around me because this person has multiple times violated, whatever terms of your relationship. And so now you have a boundary in place. So they're going to be on the other side and they're going to be screaming to everybody, she acting funny, she doing this, she doing that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to all kind of treat you some type of way, but that's not your problem. Like, for real, it's not your problem. Because you're not here to let people drain you emotionally. Thank you. It is not our job to be other people's punching bag. All right? So I'm strong enough where I'm not going to allow you to come into my space and drain my energy and steal the peace that I've worked so hard for. Furthermore, I'm not going to let somebody come in and all of a sudden make me question, am I worthy? When ultimately I've known that I've been worthy from the start. So let's talk a little bit about what setting a boundary looks like. Maybe it's saying, I'm not comfortable with you focusing on my reaction instead of acknowledging what you did. Right? Or it could sound like, I need you to take responsibility for your actions and not sit here and criticize my feelings. And if you've done all this and they keep deflecting, that's the point where we have to follow through with the boundary. You might start by just limiting your time with them, or, taking a step back emotionally. Sometimes it means that we have to completely walk away from them, right? Leaving the relationship altogether if they refuse to change. Because again, we have to remind ourselves that we are worthy. Thank you, Resilient Heart. We have to remind ourselves that we are worthy of the respect and the care and the compassion, right? And these people, they have no plans on respecting us, right? Thank you. They have no plans on respecting us, right? And again, I know that setting these boundaries are not easy, right? It's not an easy thing to do. Especially, if you're someone who's used to being the peacemaker, or if you've been told your whole life that your feelings aren't valid. Sadly, there are a lot of us out here walking around who have been invalidated from the start. So it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. When you start setting your boundaries, you might feel a little bit guilty. You might really feel like you're overreacting. Or there are situations where you might feel like you're making matters even worse. But that's just more manipulation from them. That's how they want you to feel. Setting a boundary does not make you difficult. It makes you strong. And so people who are used to manipulating you, they're going to push back when you set your boundaries. They're going to accuse you of being selfish. They're going to say you're overreacting, that you're being extra or too much, right? But that's just more of their attempt to pull you back in under their control. That's more of them trying to manipulate you. They say, I deserve to be treated with respect and I'm not going to accept anything less. People who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries. Yeah, I am extra. Like I tell people all the time, when they tell me that I'm too much, I tell them, well, go on and find less. I do be a lot to handle. They be like, you are extra. And I'm like, thank you. Right? Because if I'm extra, that means I got more than most. I'll take it. Thank you. Right? And that's why I constantly tell you guys that I'm not for everybody. I ain't for the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not for everybody. Because I know that people who genuinely care for me, people who genuinely love me, they're going to respect my boundaries. Even if it doesn't make sense to them, hey, they understand that it doesn't have to. It's a boundary for me. So it might look different for them, right? And so, they may not love them, but they'll respect them. And if they don't, well, as far as I'm concerned, that should be telling you everything you need to know. Boundaries are for you, not them. And sometimes we fall into this trap of thinking that if we set a boundary, right, it'll magically make this other person change. If I set this boundary, she's going to be better. He's going to be better. That's not the case. That's honestly not even what boundaries are for. Boundaries are not about controlling other people's behavior. They're simply there to protect your space, your energy, and your emotional health. If the other person respects your boundaries, great. But if not, then it is on you to decide how much access you're willing to give them moving forward. At the end of the day, boundaries are simply about reclaiming your power, not feeling weak, not feeling powerless. They're your way of saying that I deserve relationships where I am heard, where I am valued, and where I'm respected. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions, but you are responsible for protecting your own peace. I'm going to say that again. Welcome in, Big Joe. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions, but you are responsible for protecting your own peace. And in order to do that, you have to trust your own feelings. You've got to believe in your own worth and never let anyone convince you otherwise. It's messy, it's sometimes uncomfortable, but the more you practice standing up for yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize when, people are trying to flip the script on you. The easier it becomes to recognize manipulation for what it really is, which is an attempt to make you question yourself. Don't fall for it. So this is your reminder today that your feelings matter. And if someone's not willing to meet you halfway and own their actions, it's not on you to keep chasing them to hold them accountable. Just focus on your own energy. Focus on protecting your peace, setting your boundaries, and trusting that your reactions are rooted in something real. Remember that you're not too much because you expect respect. So as we go out today and, embark on this journey and this thing called life, I want you guys to take care of yourselves, for real. Because you deserve relationships that honor your feelings. So don't twist how you feel, don't twist it around to fit someone else's narrative. Your feelings are valid. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today. If you've enjoyed our time together and we're not friends already, be sure to give us a follow, subscribe to our channel, so that way you never miss out on any of our content. And don't forget to visit our website at theselfcareclub.org. There you could book a personalized one-on-one coaching session. We also have affirmative apparel and other motivational merch, including music, as well as a treasure trove of free resources designed just for you. So whether you're looking to elevate your self-care game or you just need a little extra inspiration to get you through the day, know that we've got you covered. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of the Self-Care Club community, and I am so excited to connect with you again soon. But until then, keep breathing, stay positive, and remember that you are always supported here at the Self-Care Club. Don't be afraid to take up space and make a little room for you to breathe. I pray that you all have an amazing day, on purpose, filled with purpose, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.
I found my room to